They're not moving. Paul Heyman, the legendary advocate, the man who has survived decades in this business, is being loaded onto a stretcher right now with a neck brace. And Braun Breaker, the future of WWE, the genetic freak who was supposed to be untouchable, is coughing up what medical staff fear might be internal bleeding. And you want to know the most insane part? WWE let this happen. They knew Bronson Reed was unstable. They knew he was a ticking time bomb. They knew his history of putting people in hospitals, and they did nothing to stop this absolute carnage that just went down minutes ago. If you're not absolutely furious right now, you haven't been paying attention to what's been building and what just exploded in the most terrifying attack in recent WWE memory. Before we break down every single devastating moment of this assault that has the entire wrestling world in complete shock, I need you to drop a comment right now and tell me, should Bronson Reed be immediately suspended, arrested, or is this exactly the chaos WWE wants? Because what I'm about to show you isn't wrestling. This is something far more sinister, and somebody needs to be held accountable. Let me set the scene for you, because context matters here. Tonight's episode of Raw was supposed to be a normal show, a standard continuation of storylines heading toward the Royal Rumble. Paul Heyman was scheduled to appear in a backstage segment addressing Roman Reigns' upcoming title defense. Braun Breaker was scheduled for a promo segment hyping his Intercontinental Championship reign and calling out potential challengers. Two separate segments, two separate parts of the show, absolutely nothing connecting them except for one common denominator that nobody saw coming: Bronson Reed's uncontrollable rage. The first attack happened approximately 47 minutes into the broadcast. Paul Heyman was in his element, standing in front of a WWE backdrop, suited up in his trademark expensive attire, microphone in hand, doing what he does better than anyone else in this industry, talking. He was building anticipation for Roman Reigns, weaving his verbal magic, when suddenly the camera shook. Not a production error, not a planned spot. The camera legitimately shook because 330 pounds of pure Australian aggression had just tackled the cameraman out of the frame. Bronson Reed appeared on screen like a horror movie villain, and the look in his eyes told everyone watching that this wasn't a worked shoot, this wasn't a scripted confrontation, this was legitimate malice. Heyman's face went from confident advocate to genuine terror in half a second. He tried to back away, tried to talk his way out of it, using every verbal skill he's developed over 30 years in the business. None of it mattered. Reed grabbed Heyman by his expensive suit jacket and threw him, literally threw him into the concrete wall backstage. The sound echoed through the arena. Heyman collapsed like his strings had been cut, and that's when things went from bad to catastrophic. Reed positioned Heyman's head and neck against the wall, stepped back, and the entire WWE universe watching knew what was coming. The tsunami, his devastating senton splash, from a standing position against a concrete wall on a 58-year-old who has zero athletic ability to protect himself. Quick trivia question for the longtime fans. How many times has Paul Heyman been physically destroyed on WWE television throughout his entire career? Drop your count in the comments, because this might be the worst one yet. The impact was sickening. Reed's 330 pounds came crashing down across Heyman's chest, neck, and head, compressing him against unforgiving concrete. Medical staff, who thankfully were nearby because this is WWE and they're always prepared, rushed in immediately. Referees tried to pull Reed away, and here's where it gets even more disturbing. Reed wasn't done. He fought off the referees, shoved aside a road agent, and positioned himself to hit another tsunami before finally, a group of about 8 security personnel managed to restrain him and drag him away from Heyman's motionless body. The cameras cut away quickly, too quickly, which told everyone watching that this was serious. WWE doesn't cut away from worked violence. They showcase it, replay it, promote it. But when something goes wrong, when someone is legitimately hurt, they protect their talent and cut the feed. That's exactly what happened, and the arena went into complete stunned silence. Social media immediately exploded. Within 90 seconds, Paul Heyman was trending worldwide. Within 3 minutes, Bronson Reed had over 100,000 tweets. The wrestling community was in complete shock, confusion, and anger. Was this a work? Was it a shoot? Why would WWE allow this? What's the storyline? The questions came faster than answers could possibly be provided. But here's where this story takes an even darker turn, and why I said earlier that 2 separate segments became connected by Reed's rampage. The show continued because, well, the show must go on. WWE went to commercial, regrouped, and came back with other segments trying to maintain normalcy. About 35 minutes later, Braun Breaker's music hit for his scheduled promo segment. Now let me ask you something, and really think about this before you answer in the comments. Should WWE have canceled the rest of the show after what happened to Heyman? Is there any circumstance where continuing the broadcast was appropriate, or does the show really always have to go on regardless of talent safety? Breaker walked out, all intensity and genetics, microphone in hand, ready to deliver his usual hard-hitting promo about dominance and destruction. He got maybe 2 sentences in when his music cut out abruptly. The lights flickered, and Bronson Reed's theme music hit like a death knell. The crowd's reaction was mixed, confusion and excitement and genuine concern all blended together. Breaker, to his credit, didn't back down. He dropped the microphone, took off his championship belt, and invited Reed to bring the fight to the ring. Classic Breaker confidence, classic Steiner family fearlessness. What he didn't account for was that Bronson Reed wasn't there for a competitive match. He wasn't there for a wrestling contest. He was there to end careers. Reed stormed down the ramp with security trying to keep up behind him. He slid into the ring, and what happened next was an absolute mauling. These 2 powerhouses have similar builds, similar strength levels, but Reed had something Breaker didn't in that moment: complete and total disregard for consequences. While Breaker was trying to engage in a wrestling confrontation, Reed was engaged in an assault. A headbutt that opened up Breaker's forehead immediately, a released German suplex that spiked Breaker on the back of his head, a running senton splash in the ring that crushed Breaker's ribs. The referee never rang the bell because this was never a sanctioned match. This was just violence, pure, unfiltered violence being broadcast to millions of people worldwide. Security flooded the ring, at least 15 personnel this time, and they managed to create a barrier between Reed and Breaker. But Reed wasn't finished, and what happened next is why both men are in critical condition right now. Reed fought through the security wall, grabbed Breaker's seemingly unconscious body, and dragged him to the corner. He positioned Breaker in a seated position against the bottom turnbuckle, backed up to the opposite corner, and the entire arena knew what was coming: the coast-to-coast tsunami, his devastating maneuver, a move he's used to hospitalize opponents before, a move that should be banned given its potential for catastrophic injury, and he was about to hit it on an already destroyed Braun Breaker who couldn't defend himself. Here's a question that's going to divide the fan base, so I want your honest take. Is Bronson Reed the most dangerous wrestler in the company right now, or is this all carefully scripted chaos designed to make him the top heel? Drop your theory below, because the evidence could support either argument. Reed charged across the ring, launched himself into the air, and came crashing down with a senton splash that connected with Breaker's chest, neck, and head simultaneously. The sound echoed through the arena like a gunshot. Breaker's body went completely limp. Medical staff rushed the ring even before Reed had fully gotten up, and the chaos that ensued was unlike anything I've seen on WWE television in years. Multiple doctors surrounded Breaker, checking vitals, calling for equipment. A stretcher was brought out immediately, neck brace applied, oxygen mask placed. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed stood in the center of the ring, security surrounding him, but nobody wanting to physically engage with a man who had just destroyed 2 people in one night. His face showed no remorse, no concern, no emotion except satisfaction. The camera angles told the story better than any commentary could. Breaker wasn't responding to medical staff. His eyes were closed, his body wasn't moving, and the urgency with which the doctors were working made it clear this wasn't a storyline injury being sold for drama. This was a legitimate medical emergency.